Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our F1 2021 My Driver Career Mode, and most importantly the final episode of Season 3 here at the Abu Dhabi GP. Very excited to get our final race underway with Aston Martin before we move to the McLaren team next season, with a team that is at the top of the board right now in the R&D pretty much now. And of course Lando Norris has won the World Drivers' Championship in the last episode, and then McLaren and Mercedes are about to have a duel for the Constructors' Championship here in today's episode. Just 16 points is Mercedes right now ahead of this McLaren team, and we saw last season that seems like a decent gap, but it has been proven to be able to be taken down in those closing moments. So we'll see what happens if Mercedes wins the Constructors or not now, as they need both Bottas and Hamilton to really step it up today now. And Lewis Hamilton, Valtteri Bottas, they've given a run at Lando Norris for the World Drivers' Championship, but unfortunately reliability issues with the Mercedes and whatnot unfortunately took them out of the battle. But they still have a chance, like I said, to get that Constructors title for Mercedes before we head to a brand new start for this career mode. It feels like with Audi joining the sport, with Porsche joining, Williams and whatnot, there's a lot of changes on the way going into this next season here, and I'm very, very excited for those changes. We, of course, leaving Aston Martin, curious to see who will take our place. Sergio Perez retiring from the career mode, so I'm curious to see who is going to go replace Sergio Perez, and that means that a Formula 2 driver will be stepping up into Formula 1 as well, so I'm curious to see who that is going to be as we would come through, though, having a good practice session here in Abu Dhabi. Unfortunately, my qualifying program, it got completely ruined by this guy right here, Antonio Giovinazzi, now, as I was not very impressed with his behavior right there, so I actually went down into turn 1 and made sure to sabotage his lap as well while I was at it, just to give him a bit of a taste of his own medicine here. But now we head into the first qualifying session here, the final qualifying session with Aston Martin here in Season 3. It's been one heck of a journey with this Aston Martin team. I'm going to miss them. You know, we had our ups and downs. We won 2 races while we were with Aston Martin. One last season in the Mexican GP, one this season at Circuit de Paul Ricard in the French GP, and then we pretty much threatened to quit after the Russian GP, and then of course we came back in Singapore, and we've had a good stretch since then. We haven't had an R&D failure since we threatened to quit this team, so I think there's a bit of a coincidence there, maybe not, I don't know. But Q1, it was a little rough here. Now, I actually had a bit of a spin here on my second lap, and I had to actually make another lap late in the session because I was on the verge of being eliminated in Q1 for the first time this season. Not where I wanted to be, so of course I was not going to let that happen, and here I was doing everything I could to try and get a better lap in here, as I was behind the Andretti Autosport driver of Guan Yu Zhou, and that is the final GP weekend for the Andretti team here in this F1 My Driver Career Mode as well. They had such a rough season here, and it was only their debut season, but they are already pulling the plug on the operation, and that is where Audi is coming in to replace them, and hopefully they can put enough funding into that formerly Alfa Romeo team and get them, of course, to the top of the board. And now it's going to be interesting to see if they can really put that fight up next season here, as we would come through though into Q2, and unfortunately I didn't get a very good lap. I went P13 on my first lap, and I tried to make a second lap, but I actually got invalidated and went slower, so we will miss Q3 here in the Abu Dhabi GP. Unfortunately, we're going to start P14 as Perez in his final race, currently P1 on the board at the end of Q2. But let's head in to the grid here in Abu Dhabi.
It's the final chapter of the season then here at the spectacular Yas Marina circuit. It's a race where the pole sitter failed to finish in 3 of the first 4 events. A front row start here is by no means a guarantee of victory, so we go into battle once more as we get underway at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The drivers will be racing here at the Yas Marina circuit through 21 corners and a lap distance of just over 3.4 miles. There are a few opportunities to pass, with long straights and DRS zones in 2 places, turns 8 and turn 11. Plenty of close racing then, plenty of speed, and I hope plenty of drama to be found in the laps ahead. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position, edging out Sergio Perez, who lines up P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Ricciardo, Lewis Hamilton and Sainz, Vettel, Gasly, Russell and the rookie, Giovinazzi, Joe, Yuki Tsunoda and Latifi. Bottas, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Ireland, Esteban Ocon and Lance Stroll, Leclerc and Mick Schumacher. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
All right, boys, thank you so much for the fun times we've had, the couple victories, the podiums we've had together. It's been a lot of ups and downs, but overall, I'm going to miss you guys, and thanks for all the support. Let's have a good night. There you hear myself to the radio to the team, and of course Jeff and whatnot, although he'll be following us to McLaren as we get ready to get this formation lap underway. A bunch of grid penalties there, and that puts us now up to P10 on the board. Valtteri Bottas with a grid penalty, most notably right there as he had that engine failure back in the Jeddah GP in Saudi Arabia in the last episode here. Now as we would grid up for the final time with Aston Martin and for the final GP of season number 3 in this My Driver career mode now as we are ready to go lights out. Max Verstappen has been on it in the last half of the season. If only he could have had a first half season like that. Now it's going to be 5 red lights and it's going to be lights out, and we are underway. Perez Verstappen on the front row there in Perez's final GP. Then you got the McLaren duo of Norris, who's already locked up the championship here and continues the trend of first time world champions here in this career mode so far. In season 1 it was Valtteri Bottas, season 2 it was Max Verstappen, this season it's Lando Norris there. Lewis Hamilton in 5th place. Vettel gets away well. I didn't have the greatest start here there, but it was okay. It wasn't terrible by any means. Now as you see Bottas tucked in behind the Williams now, and in the background you got a Ferrari as well, but it's Verstappen and Perez P1, P2 already here on lap 1. Red Bull has been at the top of the R&D here for the last few rounds, but as you guys have noticed, it's been kind of rotating back and forth between Red Bull. Then it goes to McLaren, then Mercedes gets back on top, and it kind of keeps shuffling between those teams, and I feel like next season it's going to continue like that, and we're going to be on McLaren, so it really works well for us. But until we get a big regulation shakeup, I really don't see any other teams being able to get to the top of the board, but I could be proven wrong next season. Next season, by the way, will be a shorter season. It's only going to be a 16 round season for the career mode, and then the season after we're going to of course go back to the normal 23 races there. You saw 3 wide for a moment there with Valtteri Bottas, who's tucked in just behind, I believe that is Guan Yu Zhou there in that number 48 here, as he would continue on now, getting a little bit roughed up here, you could kind of say, on this opening lap. Valtteri Bottas was here now as he was tucked in right on that diffuser. Now as you got a beautiful view here as the cars come through under this beautiful building here with the lights and whatnot. One of my favorite buildings in the scenery of F1 here as we would come through, though, to complete this first and opening lap here. It's still P10 where we started, so we didn't lose anything, we didn't gain anything. One of the more enjoyable GPs this is, of course, for me, because it's a 2-stop strategy. Anytime we can go to a 2-stop strategy race, I'm happy, even if I don't really care for the track. Here's that a bit of a moment there on lap 3. The back end kind of kicked out. We saw that happen to me in Jeddah in that final hairpin, and it happened again right there. And as we come through to lap 4, actually yellow flags for a driver behind us. Antonio Giovinazzi is going to be out of the Abu Dhabi GP here. Unfortunately, there's you see the smoke pouring out of the back of the car, and the Williams driver is out here on just lap 4. And then moments later here, I am putting the attack here. George Russell there in the Alpine here, as we're going to try and sweep around the outside of him. He's going to fight back wheel to wheel here into this left and then right chicane, but we get clear and take over the 9th position here as we settle in just behind the Spaniard of Carlos Sainz. Now Ferrari, I would expect to see a livery change for them next season. Stay tuned on that. Now, as I've already got all the liveries that you will see next season prepared here, as we would blow by Carlos Sainz here. He had no DRS, I did, and it wasn't even a contest. So up into 8th place we go, and we already went far away from the drivers ahead of us on the soft compound tire, getting ready to make their pit stops now, as we got ourselves in a decent position where we're on the medium, and then we're going to put another set of mediums on, and then we're going to go to the soft tire to end the race. While these guys here start on the soft, they might go to a medium soft, or they might go to a soft and a medium. We'll have to wait and see how the strategy differs here, but the pit stops would kick off on lap 7 7 coming to lap 8. Gasly, Hamilton, they're all going to come in, as well as Daniel Ricciardo is going to come into his pit box as well. Verstappen would be getting ready to come in along with Norris and Vettel here a few moments later, and I was going to cycle out to take the lead of this GP, but there you see a soft compound going on Verstappen's Red Bull, and then there you see Norris, he's going to go switch it up, he's going to put the medium compound on there. So Sebastian Vettel, what was he going to do? He put on a soft compound as well, and then Valtteri Bottas would be in for the medium compound. So you're seeing right off the bat some very split strategies here in Abu Dhabi, and like I said, I was planning to put on another set of medium compound tires, and we would do that at the very end of this 10th lap here. Now, as we were comfortably out in front of this Red Bull driver of Max Verstappen, but you compare him to the leaderboard, he's really one of the only ones on the soft compound tire right here. So it'd be interesting to see in that final run, he's going to have to put on the medium compound versus Norris, who will put on the soft. Who's going to come out on top of that battle? We're going to find out here now, as we're going to come in for our first of 2 pit stops and put on that medium compound tire here now. So hopefully we can cycle out relatively close to the competition. We stayed out a few extra laps than everybody, so I was expecting to be in a position where we had to make up some ground, but we're going to come through out of the pit lane just barely in front of Carlos Sainz. There nearly had a bit of a moment, but sure enough, we stay ahead of the Spaniard in the Ferrari and hold on to P7, and then we would start to run down Pierre Gasly, Sebastian Vettel, Lewis Hamilton, and whatnot, and we had fresh rubber, and we were making some ground here very quick, as I was surprised to be running down Vettel, who was on the soft compound tire. He would actually put the fight to Lewis Hamilton here moments later on the straightaway with DRS to his advantage, and they're wheel-to-wheel scrapping it out with Vettel on the softs, Hamilton on the mediums, and here comes Pierre Gasly there in the AlphaTauri BMW. AlphaTauri been very strong lately here with the R&D situation that they found themselves in, and you see now Gasly gets ahead of Hamilton and just tucks in behind the 4-time world champion of Sebastian Vettel here, and I can confirm it looks like Sebastian is going to remain still in the career mode next season, so no retirement from Sebastian Vettel here now. And then I was ready to put the attack to Lewis Hamilton right here. I had an opportunity, but I thought better of it now on lap 15, already just past halfway through this GP here in the final GP of the season, with Verstappen continuing to lead over Lando Norris, but Norris was continuing to stalk him. He wasn't really losing Verstappen, which is going to be, of course, a huge disadvantage to Verstappen when he has to put the medium compound on versus Lando's soft compound here. But I would be able to just blow right on past Lewis Hamilton there, as that Mercedes team just hasn't quite had the speed that they've needed late in this season to win a world championship here. As you would see, Verstappen, he had made his way into the pit lane, so did Sebastian Vettel. Here comes Pierre Gasly. He's going to be coming in within another lap or so, along with Lando Norris, and sure enough, on lap 19, both of them made their way into the pit lane. So I would cycle out again into the lead of this Abu Dhabi GP. Lando Norris actually on the medium compound, so not on the soft compound tire actually here to end this race. So he's on the same compound as Verstappen, about a lap or so fresher than Verstappen. Will that make enough of a difference for him to win this GP now, as Perez sets the fastest lap of the GP now? As we come through to lap 20, the conclusion of lap 20, I'm going to come in and we're going to make our second and final stop of the night, and we're going to put on that soft compound tire and try to make a good run at this potential top 5 here. Norris comes through to now set the fastest lap. Vettel, he's going to go by, and there you see that soft compound go on there. Now the mediums come off here. So the question was, where do we cycle out here on the grid? Well, Hamilton's going to come through, and Perez might come through, as well as Carlos Sainz. We might have actually lost some ground here on this cycle now, as it looks like we're going to be 8th place as we exit the pit lane. So now we had some work to do. We were quickly running down the Red Bull driver, Perez, in his final GP, as well as Carlos Sainz. Perez, who was up in second earlier in the race, now finds himself right here in P7, defending over myself. I can confirm, I forgot to show it, he did pick up some wing damage. That's why he's so far down the order now. He had to replace his front wing there. A bit of a moment for myself there with some grip loss, but we would hang on to it. But as this is happening on lap 24, Max Verstappen is now under attack from Lando Norris there. The British driver is going to try and go around the outside here as they come through into the chicane. Norris with the advantage. He gets clear of Verstappen, and he is going to set sail and drive away here. The champion of the sport here this season is going to try and win in the final GP of the season. And now here I was putting the attack now to Perez. So not a good lap 24 for Red Bull. They're going to lose the lead, and now Perez might lose 7th place here, as I'm going to dive it down into the chicane, and we get ahead of Sergio there in that Red Bull. And now we would try to put the fight to Carlos Sainz here on lap 26. We're going to swing to the right hand side of him. We're going to break a little bit early and let him just dive it down in there and try to get a bit of a switchback possibly right here as we're going to try and cross him over. Doesn't quite work out in my favor, but we're still right on him there. He has DRS, but so do we, but we have a good slipstream right here, and we're going to once again try to go to the left-hand side and dive it up the inside. We're closing in quickly on Lewis Hamilton there, nearly into the rear diffuser of Lewis Hamilton. I got a little bit sideways, but we saved it and got ahead to P6 here in these closing laps of the Abu Dhabi GP. The final 2 laps with Aston Martin here. Now the fight to Lewis Hamilton. We're going to pass him easily there. He had no DRS, and we move up into P5. Vettel currently in 3rd. He's going to beat us in the World Championship on points, unfortunately, unless something crazy happens here in these closing moments. As I nearly run into the back of the Haas right there of Lance Stroll, who wasn't making it easy on us. Now the final lap of the season underway. Lando Norris cruising to victory at this point here. Now Hamilton, though, he's still trying to put the attack to me. It's not game over yet for this 5th and 6th position there. A little bit of oversteer. Hamilton, he's ready to put the attack. The 7-time world champion going to try and go around the long way here. We're side by side into the chicane, wheel to wheel, but he backs out early, and I hold on to P5 for the time being. But will we be able to hold on down this long straightaway here with the DRS here towards Hamilton's favor? We have no DRS. All we have is overtake mode on the ERS now as I try to break the slipstream a little bit without swerving too much all over the track, but unfortunately Hamilton's close enough to make a run on us again down the inside here into the chicane as we continue wheel to wheel with the 7-time champion, but we hold him off once more. But we still have to hang on through this section here. Hamilton close, but is he close enough? That's the question. He is definitely close enough here. He's going to make the move any moment. There he goes to the left-hand side again, up the inside, right where I want him, to be honest, here as we head down into the final chicane here. Now wheel to wheel contact with Lewis Hamilton, and I think it did some wing damage actually to the front right of his front wing, and now we hold on to P5, and you can see we would be able to pull away immediately as Lando Norris will win the final GP of the season, as well as the World Drivers' Championship. Verstappen 2nd, Vettel will get the podium here. P3, great run for him, and we're going to hang on for a 5th place finish here in the Abu Dhabi GP as we would just pull lengths on Lewis Hamilton here now as he was 1.9, now 2.2, 2.5 seconds back, and as well Sergio Perez crosses the line here in his final GP inside the top 10 for a strong and respectable result there for the Mexican there. What a result for Perez, and what a career Sergio Perez has had, and the driver of the day is going to go to Charles Leclerc. Let's head to the podium.
That's it then. They've taken the win here as we wrap up another fantastic Formula One season. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
And look at that, they're making their way out onto the podium now. Great race from the McLaren team, and I'm really happy to see them there on the top step of the podium.
There you see the podium celebrations and the order. Certainly going to miss having Sergio Perez on the grid here, a part of our career mode. One of my favorite drivers in Formula One in the Red Bull there. So it's going to suck not having Sergio anymore. As you can see, Mercedes wins the Constructors' Championship by 2 points. McLaren did just about everything they needed to do, just not enough. P2 in the Constructors, P1 in the World Drivers' Championship, of course, with Lando Norris there, who wins by eventually 58 points. It's crazy how much of a gap he was able to pull out there at the very end of the season. But that does it for Season 3 of this My Driver career mode. It has been an absolute blast, and there you see Perez, sure enough, is retiring from the sport. But now we set our focus to the new team. We're leaving Aston Martin and headed to McLaren, and I won't have an off-season video, but we will go over all of the changes in the Bahrain GP. Only 16 GPs on the schedule next season, and then the season after we will go back to to the normal 23, and that could be the final season of the career mode, actually, depending, of course, on the release date of F1 2022. By the time we get there, hopefully we'll have a release date. But thank you so much for the continued support. I really, really do appreciate it, and I'm excited to get this next season with McLaren and a championship caliber team underway, and hopefully we can fight for that world title and win a lot of GPs. Who will our teammate be? We'll find out in the next one. I will see you guys in the next one for next season. Have a great day, everybody.